Last week I drew your attention to a painting that was observed in an estate agent sale, and this week in Argentina a remarkable chapter in this long and often tragic story of Nazi looted art has come to light. The painting, missing for more than 80 years, The Portrait of a Lady by the Italian Baroque master Giuseppe Ghirlandaio, has been recovered. Its discovery was not the result of careful museum inventory or the opening of a dusty archive or a sleeper painting, but rather the chance spotting of a photograph in an online property listing. There it hung above a sofa in a seaside home in Mar del Plata, a reminder that history's shadows are never as far away as we might think. The painting once belonged to Jacques Goudsticker, a prominent Dutch Jewish art dealer whose gallery was one of the largest in Europe before the Second World War. When the Nazis occupied the Netherlands, his collection, over 1,000 works, was plundered, and many pieces ended up in the private hands of Hermann Göring, Hitler's deputy, who had an insatiable appetite for old masters. Goudsticker himself never lived to see justice. He died in 1940 while fleeing by ship, a tragic fate that mirrors that of countless other Jewish collectors. What we now know is that one of Göring's aides, Friedrich Kahdgein, spirited the painting away as the Reich collapsed, and like many Nazi fugitives, he fled across Europe, eventually finding refuge in Argentina. The painting travelled with him, passing down to his daughters, and only emerged by accident when a house was put on the market. When journalists exposed its presence, it was hastily removed and replaced with a tapestry. The authorities raided the property, placed Kahdgein's daughter and her husband under house arrest, and the work has now been surrendered to prosecutors, though its ultimate destination, whether it will return to Goudsticker's heirs or remain caught in legal wrangling, remains to be determined. The single portrait tells a much larger story. The Nazis looted some 600,000 works of art during the Second World War. Paintings, sculptures, books, jewellery, anything that could be moved and claimed. It was not mere theft, it was part of the systemic attempt to erase Jewish culture, to strip families of their identity and their history. Even today, decades after the war, only a fraction of those works have been traced and restored. The Ghirlandaio case reminds us how tangled that legacy remains. Families who innocently inherit such works may protest that they knew nothing of their provenance, but the principle of restitution is vital. The heirs of Jacques Goudsticker have spent years reclaiming fragments of his once magnificent collection, and each return, whether in Amsterdam, New York, or now Argentina, is not just about financial value, though the painting has been appraised at around $50,000. That seems rather small. I would have put it around £2 million. It's about justice, memory, and acknowledging the destruction wrought by the Holocaust. And it's not only Goudsticker's family. Across Europe and beyond, heirs are still battling governments, museums, and private collectors. Institutions like Tate Britain have recently announced restitutions. Other cases remain mired in bureaucracy or denial. Too often, claims are met with reluctance, citing legal technicalities rather than moral responsibility. What is striking about this Argentine case is how the digital age has intervened. A simple online property photograph has achieved what decades of searching did not. It's a reminder that provenance research today is not confined to libraries or museums. It can be driven by journalists, by databases of stolen art, and by the vigilance of ordinary people. Technology is reshaping the fight for restitution, as is AI. But the struggle is far from over. For every portrait of a lady recovered, there are thousands still missing. Not just those paintings that were stolen from the Jewish collections, but those paintings that were lost in the hurried transit to escape the Nazi invasion. For example, in Poland, people hurriedly putting paintings in suitcases and travelling overland to safe havens like Britain or the United States. And some of those paintings got lost or damaged on the way. Some of these paintings, the hidden paintings, may still hang unrecognised in private homes. Others may sit in state collections, their true ownership politely overlooked. Each recovery brings joy, but also underscores the enormity of what remains lost because of the Second World War. The recovery of this Ghilandi's portrait in Argentina is more than the retrieval of a painting. It's a moral statement, a fragment of justice wrested back from history's darkness. It reminds us that looted art is not simply a relic of the past, but a living wound. Until each work of art is identified and restored, the project of memory remains unfinished.